opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network. Hold on, let me do that again. The views and opinions expressed within the video content found on the Indie Comics Network are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Indie Comics Network or its sponsors. Pretty much nobody here in this place is responsible for anything we say. That's pretty much what that is. Warning. The following live broadcast may contain loud, obnoxious, shrill, and alarming noises that might be considered disturbing, if not outright uncomfortable to listen to, especially if you are wearing headphones. I share my office space with an African gray parrot and 2 parakeets, and I have no control over their behavior while I am live streaming, unlike my regular videos, where I have the opportunity to edit them out as best as I can. If you are sensitive to loud, surprising background noises, I recommend either not turning your volume up too loud or watching my edited pre-recorded videos instead, like noises like that. So viewer discretion is advised. Poof. There we go. So here we are again on another Wednesday, and there's the parrot right there acting up the way he always does. So hello everybody. Welcome to another edition of my live stream, my drawing live stream. Although today's going to be a little bit different because I'm actually not going to be drawing this today, but I'm going to give everybody kind of like a background view on some of the art-related stuff that I still have to do, but maybe is not as sexy as drawing artwork on a live stream. So at least you get to see something else today. But it's like if you're here to actually see some artwork, I understand as well. But I'll get into the story as to what's going on, what's going on today with this. So let me just check. Let me just check the chat. And of course, our very own Jake Twister. Yes, almost. I am this close to finishing my commissions. I just have to put the flats in on the commissions that I'm currently working on, and then they're completely done, kind of, sort of. There's one commission where I need to do a layer, a special layer for it, but that's not going to take that long. So yeah, I'm almost done with it. And hello, Ephraim. Hello. And of course, as always, Nita is in the back keeping an eye on everybody, make sure that everybody behaves themselves and nobody gets past the velvet rope without her permission. So yes, the parrot is a T-Rex, and he especially looks like one now. So yes, he is. So yes, I see you, the 6 people watching me on the giant, next to the giant eyeball on my StreamYard screen, watching from regions beyond. And as always, if you're watching me from Facebook, if you're watching me from Twitter, come on over to YouTube, join my sexy people in the chat. It's a lot easier for us to conversate here on YouTube. Because it's like sometimes Facebook acts up, and Twitter doesn't even allow me to see your comments on there. So if you want to have, if you want me to answer your questions and stuff like that, it's a lot easier when you come on over to YouTube. However, if you are watching me from Twitch, welcome. I can see your comments. So all I ask is, as everybody on Twitch, I'm still trying to figure out how to delete comments live. So if we get the usual Twitch spammers that come on through, just ignore everybody, and I'll clean it up later. So I figure, I just mentioned that. Yes, we are the sexiest chat on the web. Yes, we are. So before we get started, let's, introductions all around. Hello, everybody. My name is Daphne Lage, and I'm a cartoonist, illustrator, and comic book artist from New York. I have been self-publishing comics since 1992, and boy, did I get an eye full of that and a reminder of that the other day. And and because I have been self-publishing since 1992, you know what that means.
You don't understand. I ain't scared of you motherfuckers.
And I am known for the furry fantasy adventure Tall Tales, which is currently on Kickstarter right now with Tall Tales to Peacekeepers, the collected trade paperback of this 3-issue miniseries. This thing is just killing it on Kickstarter. Thank you so much for everybody who has pledged so far. This campaign, it has been doing a lot better, I think. I don't know. It's like I don't want to sound but this, like I said, this thing is just kicking ass and taking names on Kickstarter compared to the first time I put up Peacekeepers in its original 3-issue format back in 2017. So I really want to thank everybody who's been supporting the campaign so far. So thank you so much for that. But we'll talk a little bit more about that. I am also known for my medieval fantasy soap opera drama, Eagle Raven, Heir of the First Unicorn, which returns to Kickstarter later this spring, 2023, with issue 6. Holy moly, we are at issue 6 already. I still can't believe it. It was almost like yesterday I was just putting out issue 1, but no, we are on issue 6 right now. So make sure you follow me on my website so that you don't miss out when the launch page goes live. So keep an eye out for that. Also, speaking of Nita in the background, keeping an eye on all of you, I am also co-host with Nita Lanning on the Rage Into the Vlogs show every Monday and Friday on the Indie Comics Network, which you can also catch episodes on my channel as well. But we'll also mention that. And before I forget, our very own JD Calderon, the writer of Tall Tales, The Peacekeepers, and all the Tall Tales books, is back on Kickstarter with another Oswald miniseries on the Wings of Deirdre. The 3 issues, the complete story, is available in one campaign right now on Kickstarter, a project we love. So we still have a couple of days left on this campaign. But don't miss out. Just head on to the links in the show notes below and make your pledge to the campaign as well, so you don't miss out on anything. And as always, you can read both my comics online at Tall Tales, TAILS online.com, and egoworks.com, EGOWORKS. And you can also check out all my videos on how I make my comics here on YouTube at my channel at Daphne Lage Art, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. So make sure you like, subscribe, hit the share, hit all the thumbs. So whether they're going up or going down, the algorithm doesn't care. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you get notified every time any of our shows go live, either on my channel or on the Indie Comics Network. So make sure you check that out as well. And hello, Charles. Hello. Yeah, no, Fridays, yes. Our next show is going to be on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern, but it's like you're nearby, you're here, so it's Eastern. It's 11 a.m., so you won't miss it. We have some interesting questions to answer. Well, one interesting question to answer on Friday that was actually able to get some answers for. So it's very exciting in terms of answering questions is exciting. So make sure you check it out. You check us out at 11 a.m. So a lot it's been a very busy final week for me. Actually, here we are on February 1st already. I am disgusted. I'm disgusted by this, but that's just how it goes, right? So, like I said, because Jake brought it up, yes, it's like I'm this close to finishing my commissions, neither of which I can show on the air for obvious and not obvious reasons. But they're almost done, and I'm very glad. Actually, yesterday I had spent pretty much the entirety of the day doing nothing but like shading in every color piece that I need to do. Hello, Kevin John. Hello, welcome again, everybody in the chat. Say hello to Master Disney artist Kevin John. And yes, I'm going to forever call you Master Disney artist Kevin John, because like I said, it's like a PhD. You earned it, so you're now doctor. So everyone gets to call you doctor. So everybody say hello to Kevin John. Thank you so much for coming on over. Well, I mean, a year already. Oh, in that case, if you're talking about what you mean by that, yes, it has been. You know what? And it might as well just mention it really quick. Yes, it has been a year since our dear Meredith decided to enter the halls of Valhalla, and we miss her deeply. And yeah, I wish that she could just see she could just see what we were able to accomplish with the foundation that she set up. But always know that everything we do here, it's always with her in mind. You know, it's like, it's really, there are literally days where we go, what would Meredith think of this? And honestly, I think there's just certain things that Meredith would go, wow, really? That happened? I go, yes, that happened. A lot of things happened. But yes, we miss Meredith deeply. And like I said, everything that we do here is for her. Yes, Jake, we're going to pour one out for the big homie. And yeah, so I just figure I mentioned that, which, you know, like I said, it made this last week a little tough, because it's like kind of felt like it was a countdown. But like I said, with loss comes gain as well. And like I said, I think that she would be completely chuffed with what we were able to accomplish with everything here. But like I said, this week has been pretty busy. Not only have I been, chugging along on finishing my commissions, but I've also been I've been like, every color piece that I have on my computer that I need to get done, I've just been shading them yesterday. So I've been just digitally shading everything. And just kind of get as many pieces as I can prepped, because one of the things now with Tall Tales on Kickstarter right now, and yes, and like I said, I just want to thank everybody. I want to thank the 63 backers who supported the Kickstarter campaign so far. We are at $2,727, which is just completely blew past the original goal that this book, that when we put out the original 3 issues back in 2017, it just completely blew past that goal. And like I said, we are now a Kickstarter project we love. Again, we're just collecting all the projects we love. We're gonna hoard all of them. And yeah, I'm just really I'm just like really excited as to like the how the campaigns are going to do coming up, just everything that's happening. And with Tall Tales Peacekeepers in the pipeline right now on Kickstarter, like I said, all the links are in the show notes below. And hello, Rob. Hey, Rob. Yes, definitely. She will be missed. Also, speaking of Rob, speaking of campaigns, if you go into the show notes, I have a whole bunch of campaigns that also for everyone to check out as well. Rob Latari is running a Nightwolf campaign. The 5-year anniversary Nightwolf Connected covers for the first 6 issues, plus the plushie. Jose, JD picked one up, so we're going to be fighting over that one. So we have Rob Multari's plushie and the 5th anniversary Nightwolf book. We have Life on Korra that's on Kickstarter right now. We have Hasm Productions. They have a new book on pre-launch right now called Doghouse, which is kind of like a Miami Vice, but with dogs. But it's like a Miami Vice furry book That's also in everything's in the show notes. So it's like, yeah, it's like we also have Sunrise Blossom with our very own Nina Amberline that she did her show on the other channel, After Dark channel as well. So if you missed that, you can also go check out her show as well after we're done here. So yeah, so everything's in the show notes, a lot of campaigns, and also you can always go to the Indie Comics Network promotions page on Facebook, where you can check out a whole bunch of other campaigns as well that that all our friends are doing. It's a busy Kickstarter season. So like I said, so with Peacekeepers on doing how it's doing on Kickstarter, I've been using this time to really start finishing Ego Raven issue 6. As I said, it's like I'm currently shading the pages right now. They are flatted, so the idea is for me to finish the shading as probably in the next 2 weeks. Really 2 to 3 weeks, and then just spend a week just color correcting, so that by the time the campaign finishes or is just about finishing, I'll have issue 6 pretty much ready to go. All it needs is just the shading, the flatting, color correcting, and I have to put the tails in and all the balloons, just finalize everything, and that book just needs, and then that book will be ready to go. Oh, hello, Heather. Hello. Yes, I need more Ego Raven. Yes, I do. I have, for anyone who's keeping count, I do have the book pencil. Well, it's like I do have issue 8 done as well. So technically I have the bones for the second trade, volume 2 of Ego Raven already set up. Now it's just finishing it. Now it's just getting through the whole book. So yeah, it's just full speed ahead on all the on everything going on, especially with more Tall Tales books coming up as well. Oh, and speaking again of Tall Tales, because it's like, yeah, this is, it's probably, I'm sure everyone's glad I'm speaking just as much about Tall Tales as I am about Ego Raven. If you missed it, if you missed my announcement, I am serializing Tall Tales Tears of the Mother, the next Tall Tales story arc, on the website talltalesonline.com. So not only can you read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales, the Thieves Quest story arc, on my website, but you can also start reading Tears of the Mother as well. So technically it starts updating today. The cover has been up for a couple of days, but I put in a summary underneath the cover to kind of catch everybody up, and then tomorrow the pages are going to start loading. So it's going to be a daily upload Mondays through Fridays, so that we can start building up to the next campaign, starting, releasing this story arc again on Kickstarter. So I'm very excited about that. For those of you who don't know, Ego Raven is also updating daily on the website as well. This time it's the full color Kickstarter edition. I retired the old black and white pages, so now it's just going to be the color editions that are uploading every day, if you want to check out that as well. So then that way, if you're not familiar with the series, you can read them for free. You can read everything for free and then support the campaign, or you can download also a PDF of Ego Raven, the first 16 pages of the first issue, to check it out as well, so that you can make a decision as to whether you want to support the campaign when it goes live late spring. So so I've just been keeping busy, trying to get everything done. Actually, not trying, I'm actually getting things done. A lot going on. So that leads. So, too much talking. Sorry about that. So because of everything, I mean, a lot has happened this week, and a lot of exciting things has happened. Unfortunately, nothing that I can I can really go into detail about. But but the thing is though, let's see. So Efrain is asking, how long did it take you to do all these comics? Well, it took me, Tall Tales Thieves Quest by itself took about 20 years for me to put out the 20. It's a little bit more than 20 issues because it also counts Peacekeepers and a one shot that's also returning to Kickstarter as well. My goal is to release all of my older material, all the entire Tall Tales story from everything that I started in 1992 to now, to release them all in these new trade paperback formats and really just build a trade paperback collection. Adulting, what's that? It's like, I'm still trying to figure out this adulting thing. But yeah, I know, really. It's it's just yeah, so it took about like 20 something years. Also, like in the middle of that as well, it's also in kind of including EGORAVEN as well, because that I was oh, I like that, adulting for more adultier adults. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, so it's you see, what's funny is that when you put it in the context of 20 years, the amount of work that I did doesn't sound like a lot. But the thing is, though, to me, it's a lot. It's like, if I were to take, I hold on, you gotta let me do this again, because I love doing this. So, if I do this, right? So this is pretty much like 20 something odd years of work that I'm putting together in collecting in these beautiful trade paperbacks. Oh, hello, Mike Jimmy. Yes, I see you. Hello. So yeah, so this is about like 20 something years of work that I have here. Yeah, I mean, I agree. I agree. It's like I said, I'm doing these by myself, aside from the writing on Tall Tales, which JD does. And yeah, and it's like, yeah, quality work takes time, and it's like, it's, but the thing is, though, it's just really exciting to be able to put all of these books on Kickstarter, and collecting everything. Wow, my arm really does get tired holding up everything. And mind you, my goal is to add to more of this. It's like there's just so much more, to add to that, because it's like I said, it's like we have EGORAVEN issue volume 2 coming up sometime late, early next year. We have the novel that's kind of like still floating around the ether there. We have another Tall Tales. We have the Tall Tales Gabby short story that I'm going to be releasing. Then the first trade to Tears of the Mother, which we're finally going to be releasing. I mean, it's just a continuous movement of artwork that I'm just putting out, and hopefully, even more stuff, even more, like I said, exciting stuff is there. There's just always exciting stuff, Let's see. Do you miss the days of doing sketchbooks at cons? Ooh, that's kind of like, I don't know. It's like, what's funny? It's like there are days that I do miss conventions, but then it's like, it's like there are other days where it's like, it's just a lot nicer to stream at home and just talk to everybody this way, instead of like feeling like, I'm competing with the environment of a convention. But at the same time, there's just something really nice about meeting people in person and talking to people in person. And, it's just kind of like a different thing. It's like, I don't know. Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's kind of like, it depends on how I'm feeling, because the thing is, so it's like doing artwork at conventions is a little difficult, because it's like, I want to talk to people, but it's kind of hard to do that when you get your head down in a sketchbook. Um, but yeah, exactly. And that's kind of how I feel. They're hit or miss. The interaction can be fun, but the time it takes relatively can be draining. No, absolutely, absolutely. Because at least in kind of like a stream environment, I can kind of control like what I can handle or not handle. Which is it's like I can do a 2-hour stream and talk to everybody. But at a convention, it's like it gets a little bit, especially like since I'm kind of like sensitive to I'm kind of like sensory sensitive, kind of, where it's like I get overwhelmed very quickly. So it's like, and especially in a convention environment, it kind of gets difficult to kind of like take a break from that. Like I said, the environment. So, but yeah, I guess it's, it's like, Jake, don't say that. I've had enough things break on me. I've had enough things, it's like my leg is still a little sus, it's like now it's just like this little obnoxious pinching feeling. And it's like, it's so obnoxious. Don't don't even, it just, yeah, it's, it's just like, do I miss conventions? Yes and no. It just depends. Like I said, I miss the physical interaction. But I don't miss the craziness of it. Although, to tell you the truth, though, I do kind of miss San Diego Comic-Con. I haven't done it since, I think our last Comic-Con in San Diego was in like, I think either 2007 or 2008. I think it might be 2008. And I kind of miss that. I miss going to San Diego because it's like, it's just so, I don't know. I think San Diego is kind of like the opposite of sensory overload for me, because it's like there's so much there that it makes it exciting, like more exciting than like a regional show. So it's yeah, so I don't know, because it's like, although San Diego is really difficult to, if you've ever been to San Diego, I mean, the show is so big. We once, me and Jose once walked from one end of the hall to the other, just walking straight. And it took us 45 minutes, not really looking at anything, just walking the main corridor down. It took 45 minutes. So you can only imagine how long it takes you to walk that floor if you're actually trying to see everything. And this is San Diego Comic-Con. And then it's like, I remember like reading something about Comic-Con in Japan, which has 30,000 booths, 30,000 tables, I guess like 30,000 exhibitors. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. I mean, that's how intense that convention is. So, so it's like, that's, so yeah, so that's kind of like, yeah, San Diego is very small. Also Angoulême, I think, was this weekend in France. I think Angoulême was this weekend, because I keep seeing stuff on my Instagram. I follow a couple of French publishers like Dargard, and there was another one that I follow, and there was like some talk about Angoulême. I don't really read French very well, and so it's like I wasn't quite, so I don't know if it was like they were preparing for Angoulême, or Angoulême ran this weekend. That's a show that I would like to do one year, just it's like, just to like, either as an exhibitor or just going there, because Paris is just, I know it's an Angoulême, it's not Paris, but oh, Jake, have you ever been to, it's like, you'll have a great time on the main floor. Oh, have you been to Comic-Con? Because that's intense. I mean, You know, it's like we definitely have to talk about it when you're on House of Bob at the end of February. So yeah, so I would like to do Angle M at least once, you know, everything, you know, it's like, yeah, at least, at least once, just to oh no, I could imagine. Yeah, I know 30,000 boots is just that's just way too intense. That's just way too much. Oh, my favorite manga author is Junji Ito. And yeah, because it's like, and what's really funny, because horror is not really my thing, but the way he does it is my thing. So it's like, so definitely Junji Ito, which is really funny to say because especially since John Carpenter's The Thing is my favorite movie, and and so is The Human Centipede is one of my favorite movies. So to say, and Event Horizon is one of my favorite movies. So to say that horror isn't my thing might be kind of misleading, but yeah, definitely when it comes to manga, Junji Ito is like I never have to question anything that he puts out. It's like, okay, it's Junji Ito. I know, give me, that type of thing. So yeah, so okay, we're just hitting the first half hour, and like I said, I'm not really going to do any drawing today, but as you can see on my screen right here, I've been doing a little house cleaning, a little housekeeping, pretty much, with my supplies and whatnot, because like I said, it's like I had some very interesting things happen this week, and it really the Black Hole was really good too. I was really surprised. I watched that it's like when Disney Plus first came out, and they had the Black Hole on, and I was watching it, and it's like it's like I hadn't watched it in decades, and I'm going, damn, this is a really good movie. This is a really good movie, and shout out to Bob. Is it Bob? I think it's Bob, the robot, the robot thing. It's like the OG. So yeah, so like I said, certain things happened this week, and it made me, especially yesterday, it made me want to take an inventory of everything that I have, just so that I know what I have. You would think that, emptying out the office and bringing everything back into the office after fixing the flooding issue, I would actually have a better idea as to what I have, but no, absolutely not, because artists are kind of akin to hoarders, and we don't know what we have. we just take the box out, put the box in. We don't check anything until we're looking for it, and we could swear that we had it and we can't find it, but it's somewhere. I know it's somewhere. So yesterday I started going through my stuff. So I thought it would be interesting to kind of share this process with everybody, because you know what? It's like we all kind of have to remember that it's like, I think part of the reason why people kind of like get a little, I don't know, like they kind of get like, oh, all I want to do is just draw all day and blah, 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 and this, that. And but the thing is, though, it's like, it's not always all about that. There are certain things that you still have to do. It's not like, it's like, yeah, you have to do the business side of things and the accounting, and, and in this case, it's kind of like accounting, but I'm accounting for all my art supplies. And so, yeah, so I just want to show off the stuff that actually I didn't remember I had, but it's good to know that I have it now. And so let me just, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to run a bump, and then we're going to come back to the main screen, and we're going to talk about some the art supplies that I have, and what I'm planning to do with them, in terms of kind of like being able to keep better track of what I have, and know what what I need to pick up, if I need. So let me go run that bump, and I'm going to switch cameras, and yeah, we'll be right back. God damn, I love my trailer. I swear to God, I can't say it enough how much I absolutely love that trailer. It's like it was a challenge to make and put together, but man, it was worth it. I could watch, I mean, every time I pop that trailer on, it's like I can't get enough of it. And it's like I'm really hoping a lot of people are feeling that way too, because like I said, the Peacekeepers campaign is just doing wonderfully. And I really like to say this because of my trailer that it's doing well. So here we are on my other desk. We're going to be switching back and forth for a little bit, and so this is actually some of the supplies, some of the art supplies that I actually found. Well, found, i.e. forgot that I had. I just thought that everyone would find this interesting as to what exactly I have in my arsenal. Aside, it's like not everything is all about Copics and Photoshop and coloring in Photoshop. I actually do traditional stuff as well. But it's just been a while since I've done it. So like I said, I wanted to take an inventory. So I thought you guys would appreciate this. And I just have to start off with what is probably the oldest art supply I have on the table right now. But the thing is, though, I'm pretty sure it's still good. That's the thing. So this is a set of Dr. Martin's watercolors. And I think that I picked this up, I think, for an airbrush class all the way back at SVA. So it has to be, let me see. So it's like 89, maybe like between maybe like 1990 to 89, 90, like 90, between 1990 and 1994 that I picked these up. And I still have them. But here's the thing. I mean, it's like, it's Dr. Martin's, right? I mean, it's like, as far as I can tell, they look like they'd still be good. So I was looking online. So it's like, transparent watercolor, right? Yeah. So, like I said, I picked this up for an airbrush class back then. And it's like, it's like, as far as I know, it's like these things don't have an expiration date. And I looked online and they said that, well, maybe certain colors you might have to shake. Like if you have like white or something, like I guess here you can, I don't know if you can kind of see it, but I can see that. Is it? Oh, no. That's just, that was just the label. Like they said that sometimes like there's some of them where the pigments kind of separate, and probably at worst you just have to shake it. But as far as I know, these are still good. So like this is the original chart that I made back then, back when let's just say 1994. Okay, let's just say that, So, and it's like, instead of like getting rid of this, because there's no reason to, it's still good, right? So what I decided was, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new swatch chart for these, just to get kind of like an updated look. Right. Well, as far as I know, I don't have any cadmium on any cadmium on the table anywhere. So it's like I'm not that it's not that intense. It's not that intense. So I'm going to make a new color chart for this, just to make sure, just to test out the inks, to make sure that they're working, that they're still working, which I'm pretty sure that they did. Now, here's the thing, though. So I've always been making color charts for like my markers especially, but But yeah, no, for real. This swatch is older. I mean, the box is older than a lot of people in the chat. So so the thing is, though, I've been like, but the thing is, though, the problem that I have, especially in this office, with the amount of natural light that it gets, and even though I had the windows, when I had the windows replaced, I had them specially coated with a UV resistant. It has a UV resistant coating on it. I still have a lot of problems with fading, especially with markers. So whenever I made a swatch chart for my markers, they would always fade. By the time I took it out, all the colors were faded because they were being affected by the amount of sunlight that comes in this office. So when I decided I was going to re-swatch these dyes, I figured, you know what? Maybe what I need to do is I need to create a swatch chart in a way where they won't fade, i.e. in a closed book. So I had this mixed media sketchbook lying around, and I go, you know what? This is probably going to be the best way for me to do this. So I was prepping up some pages. So here is like prepping up that I'm going to start swatching the dyes on. So I have it, separated there. And then I figured, like, you know what? Why don't I do that to everything? Why don't I swatch everything that I have in this book, so that all I need to do is just flip through the pages that I need, and then I will have my swatches. It's like the box makes you feel young, so I'll have my swatches all in one place, depending on what, and then I'll probably put like little tabs or something. So I was putting together these grid lines, and I go, you know what? It's like, let's do that. Let's do a stream where I'm showing you how I'm putting this stuff together and kind of organizing everything. So, and then once I started pulling everything out, then I realized, I got to swatch this. I got to swatch that. So, I'm going to put this to the side now. So I'm going to put this to the side, and, and I'm going to show you some more stuff. So yes, so this is the oldest piece of art supply that I own right now. Probably aside from a light box, an original, like it has like a freaking fluorescent bulb in it. That one I also bought while I was at SVA. So yes, except that's downstairs. It still works. It's just like really, really bulky. It's like pulling out a suitcase. That's why in the end I ended up buying like an LED light pad. Game changer, absolute game changer. So it was just a lot more convenient. But so another thing that I found that I didn't know that I have was this gray transfer paper. I usually use this when I'm doing when I'm transferring pencils to watercolor paper. Because it's like, say, I'm either using this or I'm doing it like the old school way, taking tracing paper and putting charcoal on the back and then tracing, and then tracing that way. So I have this. So it's like, at least that's good to know that I have, for this. These things I actually forgot I had as well. I do have to swatch these. These are really fun to use. These are mica pigment watercolors. And I don't know if you can see in the light, but they're very iridescent. They're very shiny. And they're very metallic when you put them down. I remember doing a whole bunch of sketch covers experimenting with this, and it was actually really nice to use. And the fact that it comes in all these different colors, it was just like really, really nice. And so this is like all the different golds. So yeah, so I gotta try these out. It's been a while since I used these. So yeah, there's probably probably I'll do them on the next batch of sketch covers for the campaign, because right now I also use Posca metallic pens, which I'll show I'll show when I go to do the Copic swatches. And it's like, yeah, I think that these give a better shiny effect, especially if you lay it down correctly. It comes out like really nice and solid. So it's really shiny, and you can use pens on top of it. And yeah, it's just really nice. So I was just really happy to find these. So yeah, so like I said, these are really, I'm really glad to have remembered that I had these. And of course, really, it's like everything on this table, I literally forgot that I had. This is how it's like, and then I end up buying, it's like buying more and then not realizing that I had them already. So along with my rapidographs that I use predominantly for inking, I also make sure to always have in stock these pick pens. So these are from Faber-Castell. They come in these 4 nib sizes that they're very, very similar to my rapidographs. I use these mostly for sketching because these are better for sketchbooks than my rapidographs are. Although I do have a sketchbook that my rapidographs work really well in. Actually, let me see. I'll give you guys a sneak peek. So with this sketchbook, with this sketchbook, what I found out that my rapidographs work really, really well on this paper. So I've been using my rapidographs on this paper, right? And let's see, let me give you a sneak peek of what do I have? Oh yeah, so this is the latest piece that I did. And this is all rapidographs. But there are other sketchbooks where I can't use rapidographs on it, or it just completely wrecks the nibs. So like when I'm doing something like this in my smaller sketchbook, this I'm using the pick pens. And also it's like you could tell too that it's like, I'm being a lot more sketchier in the sketchbook as opposed to this, when I realized that I could do more final pieces in this book. I mean, the paper is just really nice. And the cool thing about it is that the paper is nice, even though I should not have done this. But I didn't realize it until after I did it. That's like, I really should have put this on 2 different pages. But the fact that I was able to ink back to back on the same paper and I don't have bleed through, as long as I do not use markers, I do not have bleed through with actual ink. So I was just really, which now of course I regret doing this, but that's just to show you that the type of why I have 2 different pens. And also for the fact that these travel a lot better too, because with the rapidographs, I always have to work with loose, like actual liquid ink. And they're awful on an airplane. Let's just put it that way. So with these, I can travel anywhere and not have to worry about the pens exploding or having to travel with the pens empty because the pressure of the planes push all the ink through. It's you don't know that's no good. That's no good. So nice to remember that I have 3 unopened boxes of this. So I'm really happy with that. This was also something that I forgot that I had. These are acrylic. It's a basic set of acrylic paints, Winsor & Newton. I forgot why I bought these. I think look at that. I didn't even take it out of the plastic. Let me take this out. Look at this. It's still in the plastic. And for the life of me, I can't remember why I bought this. I meant to do something with this. These are acrylics. So I just don't remember what. Was I supposed to paint something? I don't. Yeah, for the life of me, I can't remember. So these are Winsor & Newton. Now the thing is, though, there's always been this question that comes up, and it's like, what's the best art supply to use? It's like, it's like, do I need to buy the expensive stuff? It's like, can I do artwork with just like the stuff you buy at Michael's? And the answer is yes. If it's like, honestly, if you're doing like really, I mean, because in the end, it's what you do with it, not necessarily the materials. However, depending on the type of work you want to do, you may benefit from buying more expensive materials, because especially when it comes to paints, they use better pigments. So it's like it goes down better. It's more archival, which with kind of like if you go to Michael's, I mean, you kind of can get the entire gamut, the entire gamut, the entire something. You can get like everything pretty much there. You can get the really, really cheap artist's loft brand name stuff, or you can, get the more expensive, like the higher end Winsor Newton stuff. Or there's another one called Cotman's, I think, which is also Winsor Newton. I don't remember. There's certain grades. There are different grades of art supplies, but it depends on what you're doing with it. It depends on what you're doing with it. I mean, it's like I have done paintings with 99-cent, watercolor sets, but trust me, getting a Winsor Newton watercolor set was definitely an upgrade. Definitely an upgrade. So, like I said, it just really depends on what you're doing the art. I mean, it's like, look, you could do finished pieces with a ballpoint pen. Okay, if you really, I mean, it's like all you need is to go to the 99-cent store, get a pencil, get a pad, and get a ballpoint pen, and you're good to go. It's like you really don't, like, this really doesn't need to be complicated. Like I said, it just depends on what you want the final result what you need it to look like. And it's like, yeah, it's like, Patrick's mentioning like cave drawings, and it's like, yeah, look, there are people who paint with tea. There are people who paint with stale Coca-Cola. It's like it's, you can pretty much, you can use anything. But so it's like I just kind of think that for a safer bet, I personally would recommend, maybe if it's like, if you want to get more serious with it, maybe kind of not buy the 99-cent stuff at the dollar store, but it's like, get either like the basic brand name stuff, or kind of like, if you can splurge a little bit more, kind of get kind of like the middle ground art supplies. You don't have to go all the way, buying like $15 tubes of paint, if it's like, you don't really need to. So in the end, I think like that's kind of like what I had here. It's like I just needed like a really basic set of acrylic paints, but I made sure to buy a brand name, so I knew that I was at least getting like some kind of quality. But for the life of me, I can't remember why I bought it. But at least I have it if I need it. So that's so that's good. And speaking more of Winsor Newton, this is also a, like, yeah, I could, this is probably not as old as the Dr. Martens, but I've had this thing for decades, and this is also another Winsor Newton. This is a watercolor set, and every like watercolor painting that I've ever done, it was with this set. Like if you go to my portfolio at egoworks.com, if you see anything that's like watercolor, it's with this paint that I did it with. I mean, and yeah, and it's like, it's not like it goes bad, so yeah, I've never had a problem with it. Like I said, in the end, it just depends on your skill level. Obviously, it's like you saw Kevin John in the chat earlier. Obviously, someone of Kevin John's reputation, he's using the higher quality paints. It's like the more archival stuff and whatnot. But in the end, you still need to take care of the artwork. If you own an original piece of artwork, you still have to take care of it. So So even if, you're buying a piece that's made with these types of paints and, like more expensive, it's like you still have to take care of it. You still have to know how to display it properly. You still have to know how to, um, you know, there's still a certain care that you need to do, you need to have with artwork in general if you're using this. So yeah, so this is definitely this has been around for a while. This is kind of like my go-to watercolor set. Yeah, so at least I know I don't have to buy more watercolors, that I already have them here. So that is something that, oh, and speaking of ink, right? The giant bottle of ink that everybody, that I think someone in the chat had mentioned. So this is a full bottle of Black Noodler's ink that it's water-based ink that I had bought when there was a point. Hold on, let me show you here. Let me just put these away right here. Let me just put these books away. Where is it? Yeah. I was actually experimenting with inking with a fountain pen. And I remember having a lot of fun with these. And the ink was specifically made for this. So although now that I look here, I could have used the Dr. Martens dyes too while I was there. So it's like, so I have like all this ink now. Yeah. So luckily, because of how thin the inks for fountain pens have to be, I don't think I have to worry much about pigment separating. So, so it's like, so at least I don't have to worry about that. So yeah, so I had this too. Also, I was experimenting with a glass pen too, which was also pretty interesting, but I just didn't get the hang of it. And then it's like the final thing. It's like, yeah, it's like I just put my glue here. This thing gets used like crazy, and my masking tape. And then it's like, oh, and then of course I have these little guys here. These are I'm pretty sure I'll be okay if, because it's like they're not really, they're anything. They're just like these little anatomical dolls. They're from Thyssen. They're very posable. I highly recommend them because they're made out of silicone. They're made out of silicone, and they have like kind of like a steel frame on the inside, I think. And yeah, and it's like I highly recommend. They are expensive. These little guys, they cost me about like $70 a piece. But they're very much worth it because of how posable they are. I also keep them in this box because silicone collects everything, and when you're in this office with all the dander and the feathers and the cat hair, yeah, these guys need to stay in this little box until I need them. So this was definitely worth the money, though. Honestly, it's like I think that if using the little posable dolls is something that you really use a lot, I recommend upgrading to these, to tell you the truth. Just get the Thyssen dolls. You can get them on Amazon. Like I said, they're about like $60-$70 each. But just don't confuse them with the large 12-inch with the 12-inch dolls. Yeah, so yeah, but yeah, that I highly recommend upgrading to these. If that's something that you're thinking of getting. I had the plastic ones, but they didn't last very long, and they're not as posable as they claim they are. And the worst part about it is that right now, like the gray ones, the gray bodycon ones, it's all bootlegs everywhere. Like you can't even find a genuine one. Even if it says it's genuine, it's usually a bootleg, and they break the second you take them out of the box. So I don't even mess with that. And then, of course, the last thing that I ended up finding is that why do I have 3 boxes of color pencils? Why? Why do I have 3 boxes? I have no idea why I have so many color pencils. And again, it's like I think the one that I was using was this little one, I think, because of the, they're the only ones that are sharpened out of these, like, and I could have remembered I had more, it's like, and yeah, so it's like, so I have this one, and it's like, yeah, these are brand new. These are brand new. It's like, I didn't even like I completely forgot I had these, and now I have 3 boxes. It's like, what is this? And this one, well, this one I know I got because Staples had a sale. They had this on clearance for like $5. And I go, well, I must liberate this. So I picked it up, so it's like, okay, so now I have these boxes, and I completely forgot that I had so many, but at least, I'm covered with colored pencils if I need them. Like I said, you can use any type of colored pencils, but like I said, if you can upgrade where you can upgrade, I highly recommend it. It's like, just because it's like, yeah, it's like you can still use the inexpensive ones, but if you can upgrade where you can. Yeah, that's, I guess that's why it's like, handy having you around, then I completely forget that I have it. So that's what I found in the drawers over here when I was like finally cleaning everything. I threw out a lot of garbage, I do have to admit, but at least I know it's like, okay, I have all these basic supplies, so I don't need to really do much with that. So let me switch over to my other camera so we can go back to the Copic chart that I have on the table. And let's see, where is it? There we go. So here we are. So here's the Copic chart. Now, yeah, so once I made a decision as to which markers I'm going to keep in stock, and it's like, and I have, I've done all the testing. I've tried all the different kind of markers because I wanted to avoid having to spend money on Copics because they are expensive. But in the end, I had to break down and go, you know what? I had to admit that the 2 markers that really worked for me, that really were working for me, were Prismacolors and Copics. So I had to break down. Oh, it was my leash is getting caught here. So I had to break down, and I bought myself, so of course I have this is my working bag of Copics. What's really funny is that this is actually a stroller bag that they were selling at Walt Disney World. And I was like going, I had seen it on somebody's stroller. It's like, just to show you, no matter where I go, this is where my brain always goes. My brain is always, so, we were at Walt Disney World the last time we were there, and I saw this on somebody's stroller, and I was staring at it, and I was like going, that's the perfect size to store markers. I'm literally standing in the middle of Walt Disney World, staring at a stroller, scoping somebody's stroller bag, trying to figure out how many markers I could fit before I went and bought one. And I bought one anyway. I took a better look at it. I went to the store. I went to one of the stores at Epcot. And let me just move the camera here. I was like staring at it, and I go, oh, this is perfect. This is perfect. So what I did was, I made the little loops because this is supposed to go on the stroller arms, right? I put 2 hooks on my thing here, my little storage, my little drawer thing here. I put 2 little command hooks here, and then I just hang it. And so this is what you're always seeing. So this is always here, so it's like it's always within arm's reach without me having to go digging through drawers or anything. So and then if I need to take it anywhere, it's already in a bag. So it's like it's absolutely perfect. It's so dumb, it's brilliant, right? So I bought this basic Copics set because, like I said, in the end, it's like I had to admit that Copics was the best markers for me, and then Prismacolors right after. If you've watched any of my videos on my previous streams, and I'm working with Copics or whatnot, what I like to do is I like to use the Copics for the actual characters, and then use Prismacolors for the backgrounds because of the type of nib that Prismacolors have. So and just the pigments just work really, really well for it. So yeah, so this is kind of like my basic tool set pretty much that I use. This is what, because not only do I have my Copics, but I have all my refills, right? And then I have some of my multi-liners here. So these are the Faber-Castells, the Pick pens that I was showing you before. So I have some of my pens here. I have this little tube thing to help with, well, it's like actually ever since I got the new refills, I don't really have to worry about using this. It's just a little squeezy thing, but I just keep it here anyway. You know what it is? This is good for if you need to put water anywhere. Like this would be good for like the watercolor set. I could just drop water on each of the little, but like I said, I just keep one here. And then I have all these various Posca pens. These are all in white. And I use these for like highlights and special effects and whatnot. These are really good. It's pretty much acrylic paint in a pen, and it's super convenient, and I really like using these. Before I had to actually use like actual white ink, but that stuff kept drying out on me. And like the Japanese gel pens with the white ink in it, but they always dried up on me. So the Poscas, they seem to be better, for that. Like they just seem to store better. So, and like I said, it's like if I need to take this anywhere, I could just hook these together, and it's like a little handle. So it's like, so it's like it's absolutely perfect. And then it's like in this pouch here, I keep a little miniature scale, because when you're refilling Copics, you don't want to overfill them. And the best way to not overfill a Copic is to know what its weights are. So a full Copic marker, so I go by this. There was a video that I watched, and they said the full Copic marker is 9.5 grams. So what you do is you take off the 2 caps, and then you weigh your marker, and then it's like you just keep filling it until you hit close to 9.5 grams. And then you have a full marker, and you're not wasting, because these things, because like I said, these things are expensive. Like the markers itself can be like $8 a piece, and then the refills are like it's like you're paying for a marker again, but it's a refill. I mean, they're handy, don't get me wrong. The fact that now I can just refill a marker instead of keep buying markers is very, very convenient, especially if I'm doing a lot of coloring all at once. So here we have the chart. So what I was saying, so like I said before, because all my charts kept fading, at least if I do this in this book, the idea is that because it's in a book and it's going to be closed, that I'm not the colors are going to stay true for a longer time when I need it, for as long as it's like so when I need it, my colors are still accurate, as opposed to when I go to use it and everything's faded. I mean, I have a Rocket Raccoon piece that I did, and it breaks my heart seeing it because it's all in pastels, and I did not color it in pastels. But that's just how much it faded, just being not even in direct sunlight. So also that's something you got to keep in mind when you're using markers, is that I guess because these are alcohol based, they're not color fast. So if you buy artwork that they're using markers, you have to make sure it's like either you have to put it in a portfolio and like only take it out when you want to see it, or you have to get it framed in a way where it's under UV glass or it's UV protected so that it doesn't fade. But honestly, it's like I don't think that that'll guarantee that it won't fade. Um so okay, so here's the first so here's kind of like the first swatch. So let's do that. So I'm just going to block that in. And yeah, that's just what I'm going to do here. It's like, so there's, and then I'm going to take, let's see what fine. I'm going to take my pit marker. And so we got the first color down, and I'm just going to put in, so this is R46. Right. And I'm not going to even bother putting in the name of the color, because in the end, it's like I'm only going by the number anyway. So at least this way, I don't have to worry about whether the name is going to fit underneath it, because honestly, it's kind of irrelevant. So yeah, so I'm just gonna like pretty much like start filling out these boxes. And also what this does too is that it will allow me to see which markers I need to refill, and or I need to buy refills for. Sometimes, oh hey Grant, hey, sometimes there's some markers that I think just needs to be refilled, and for some reason that's not the case, and I've wasted ink on that, and it turned out that the nibs were just really, really bad. Like, I don't know, sometimes you get a Copic marker that kind of like the nib crystallized kind of. And instead of bothering with, trying to buy nibs and replacing the nibs, it's like, for me, I just buy a new one and I buy the refill and I call it a day. Because I've had to do that with a couple of pens, with a couple of markers in the past. This one's 43. Where, yeah, it's like I was filling it, but the nib was just shot, and these were brand new pens. It's just something happens, I guess. I guess while it's being shipped or something, I don't know. So yeah, so in terms of the topic of the day, so like I said, it's like, it's like, yeah, we're so while I'm swatching, let's talk about the topic of the day, which is what does success mean to you? In terms of like, we talk about, doing all these comics and doing the work and, and running campaigns and whatnot. But it's like, it really is funny to see the varying degrees of, I don't know, it's like just the way people feel about what they're doing. Like, because it's like for Peacekeepers, right? It's like we're almost at $3,000 on it, and I'm very excited for the book to reach $3,000, because like I said, it's like it's doing so much better now than when we first put it out on Kickstarter in 2017. And and it's like and it's like I really can't be happier for it. That it's like, I was a little concerned as to how this book was going to perform. And oh, and here's the thing too. Like these pick pens, these extra ones here, these are kind of like my stragglers, where it's like, they're not really working well for inking, but I can still use them for other things. And if you have to start pressing hard to get the ink of these pick pens to work, it means that it's almost run out and you really should be replacing them. But because I'm just writing in numbers, I'm not, it's like, yeah, it's like they serve that purpose. As to, it's like, okay, it's kind of like, they're kind of like scrap markers, the scrap pens. So, so it's like, I'm really happy that the campaign's doing what it is at 3,000. But, it's like, but the funny thing is that I know that there are people out there who they would look at a $3,000 campaign and they're like going, fuck this shit. This is not worth it. Oh, it's like, there we go. So Grant is saying that Kevin Eastman said the day he made enough money off of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that he could quit his day job was better than the day he made his first million. I believe that. Really. There is something about being able to quit your day job pretty much and just do art full time. I mean, that really is a goal. That's a real goal. I mean, that I understand. Right. And he's saying that's the thing too. Is it a matter of quantifying success or emotionally adjusting to success? Both of those I find can exist in tandem, or that one matters more than the other. Yeah, you see, that's the thing. It's like, because sometimes, like, what I think is successful, someone else might not think it's successful. Like I said, a $3,000 campaign for me for Peacekeepers, it's like, oh my God, yeah, it's like, keep going. But you have other campaigns where it's like, if they're not making 10,000, it's considered a failure. The campaign's considered a failure. And it's like, yeah, and it's like, it really just, it really depends. Like, yeah, it's like my last job, it's like, look, I didn't end up doing artwork full time, because I planned it that way. Although I planned for it, but how I ended up being here doing art full time was not how I planned it. I planned for it, but I didn't plan this. I was at my last job. I was working in a print shop, where we did like posters and stuff and display items for major companies. And I got laid off, and but the thing is, though, is that I had been planning to quit that job. It's like for about like 10 years, I had been planning my finances in a way so that a job could never hold my employment over my head. It's like that was like one of the first things when I started working, that I made it a point to set myself up so that no boss can use my job as a threat. And I have to admit something to this. A lot of bosses hated that shit. They really did. It's like a lot, when I was able to seriously tell a boss, I dare you, honestly, that was kind of a feeling of success for me, to tell you the truth. I've had bosses, like, or whatever, like give me some pushback over something or whatever. And I would tell them, do whatever you want. Do whatever you want. I dare you. I dare you. And and here's the funny thing. They never did. They absolutely never did. I was just able to stand there and go, okay. There's it's like, oh, it's like, I'm going to fire you. It's like, okay, you're doing me a favor. Go ahead. And they never did. But boy, do they hate that shit. So that's how I knew I was on the right track. It's like, set up your if you have a job, set up your finances so that nothing can be held over your head. Because not only do bosses hate that shit, it's like, what's really funny is that you find out like how kind of toothless they are, and you kind of like, I don't know, get away with more, I think, or whatnot, or it's like, it's just kind of weird being in that position. I mean, granted though, I've pissed off managers so much that they've thrown straight staplers at me, because of that shit. But you know what? It's like, look, that they just needed. It's like, yeah, they needed somebody to stand in front of them and says, "I dare you," and then they threw a stapler at me. It's like, that's neither here nor there. But the thing is, though, it's like when that job laid me off, it's like every other person they laid off that day came out of that office crying, except me. Like, what was really funny is that he had to kick me out of his office because I kept sitting there and staring at him going, you're fucking with me, right? It's like he couldn't get the reaction. I refused to give him the reaction that he wanted, because, he was one of these guys who was like, he got off on, on kind of like torturing people, and he couldn't do that to me. It's like I said, it's like he had a guy crying because he had just bought a house, and it's like, oh, you're fired, right? Or it's like, oh, I have to lay you off. And I'm standing there going, it's like, what, and and it was just like, it was just like so ridiculous. And that was the day that, okay, my time is my own now. And it took a little getting used to, but in the end, it's like, look, I haven't held a day job for about since 2013. I remember that day. They laid me off December 13th, 2013, which was a Friday. It was a Friday the 13th. And yeah, and it's like, and it's like when everybody else was crying, one guy was saying, one of the guys who was lucky enough to keep his job, he goes, oh, so what are you gonna, it's like, what are you gonna do? And I go, it's like, it's like, oh, are you upset? It's like, what? It's like, I got a fucking graphic novel I gotta finish. He did me a favor. I got a graphic novel to finish. And then that's when he goes, you do graphic novels? It's like, yeah, and I gotta finish it. So, um, and it's like, it's, it's like, yeah, it's like, is there something more satisfying? It was very satisfying, to tell you the truth. Every time they tried to pull shit on me like that, and I made them back down because I didn't care, it was beautiful. It was beautiful, So I haven't been working like a day job for the last 10 years. Well, since 2013. Yeah, for the last 10 years. And because I can't do math. And I consider that a success. That's successful for me, and like I said, it's like this week especially, it's like I was just introduced to an opportunity that'll help me continue that lifestyle of not working a day job. So so I think that's successful, you know. But you see, I think that what it is that I think that a lot of people, they think that success is one thing that happens, right? It's that, it's like if this one thing happens, it means that that's it, right? That's like you got your success. And I don't know. And it's like, I think what it is, it's like what I'm beginning to really understand now is that success is actually more incremental than it is one big thing, like one lump sum, you know? Um, like, yeah, it's like getting laid off from my job and um being able to stay home and work on my art full time was successful. That was a success for me, you know. um I mean, this is going to sound weird, but the pandemic putting everybody on lockdown and making me hyper focus on my comic book artwork and putting, and preparing Ego Rave, spending that time preparing Ego Raven for Kickstarter. It's like we went down and we went in lockdown in March, and then by January 2021, I had my first Ego Raven Kickstarter. That was successful. My first full color book of this story that I had been working on since almost as long as Tall Tales. It's like that was a success to me. Especially, watching each subsequent campaign just become more and more successful on its own and grow backers and grow monetarily. That is successful. Watching Peacekeepers. I mean, it's like, I hate to admit that I wasn't expecting much from this book. I really wasn't. I was going to be surprised if I even made the $1,200 goal. And now I'm almost at 3,000. That's a success to me. Me getting the opportunity that I did this week, just having that opportunity was a success. How that opportunity is going to unfold is still something we're going to find out. It's like I'm still going to find out, and it's like, and I know that as it unfolds, this thing, there's going to be a lot of struggle. There's going to be, there's going to be a lot of crying on my end, as I hit those growing pains. I mean, you think it's like, yeah, it's like we joked about adulting. This is like next level adulting. This opportunity, there's going to be growing pains. I'm going to be crying literally and figuratively. I'm going to have to be dramatic about it first, but we're going to push through and we're going to see what happens. It's like, I'm very excited about this, like this thing opening, this road opening before me. And it's like, yeah, there's going to be growing pains. It's going to be painful on a certain level because I've never worked consistently at that level before. And boy, am I going to learn. But at the same time, I'm very excited about learning this process and knowing and like finding what I have in myself to be able to do it. And it's like just that's like just the thought of that is a success to me. Like I made it this far. Now how much farther can I go? It's like, and it's like, so yeah, so it's like, and mind you, it's like, notice that I have yet to really mention money. I mean, granted, that helps. That's nice, but I think what excites me more is really like kind of like the new everything that's going to come with it. It's like, It's kind of like how I felt when Ego Raven Volume 1 hit $8,000. And I was not expecting it to hit $8,000, not by a long shot. Like I said, I was expecting that to be maybe like a $3,000 campaign, and you know, and yeah, wow, this pen I really need to replace. It's like it shouldn't be this difficult for me to write. So let me just put that aside. Let me get a new one. Let me see here. This is instead of using one of the scraps, let me use this one. Okay, okay. So this one's a new one that I don't want to mix in with the other one. So this one is okay. This is Y19. So okay, now we're doing Y8. You know, so yeah, so it's like, yeah, so when Ego Raven hit Volume 1 hit $8,000, it's like holy, like I'm still surprised. No, with Jake, yeah, exactly. It's like the pandemic was, yeah, I mean, look, I am not dismissing all what, you know, the fact that this was a disease that was rampaging through the population. People died. We lost a lot of good people, you know, because of it. But at the same time, yeah, it was kind of, I don't know. I guess it just gave me the opportunity to really think about what I wanted. What was it I wanted to do? And, you know, and then it's like, what? Yeah, you see, much better. You see, now it's just like, okay, you see how much easier, you see how much easier it is. I'm not really struggling. I'm not pressing to, you know, get that to work. So, you know, and, you know, so yeah, so it's like the fact that it made me sit down and go, okay, what is it that I want to do? You know, it's like, I literally have all this time now. What do I want to do with it? How am I going to make this worth it? Yeah, and you see, and that's the thing too. I wouldn't have gotten this much into streaming if it wasn't for lockdown, because we had nothing else to do. You know, it's like this was the only way we could see people is on streaming, you know, and that's how I ended up meeting, you know, you and Nita and Meredith and everybody else in the chat and everybody that we know, that everybody that we still hang out with, except online, right? You know, you know, it's like you know, that's just the reality of it, you know? And so yeah, so it's like, so Ego Raven hit $8,000, and like I always said, had I have not been on vacation that week in the campaign, I know that campaign could have made $10,000. But honestly, I really needed that vacation. So I am not dismissing that vacation at all. But the thing is though, is that holy crap, I had a book that made $8,000. You know, and you know, and it's like, now it's like, wow, if I can make it this far, can I make it farther on the next one? You know? And it's like, that is a success to me. You know, it's so yeah, so that's the thing. So it's like, it's not like I'm waiting for one big thing that it's like, oh, you know, it's like, if I do this, that means I'm successful. I mean, if we wanted to boil down, like, what is it that, no, absolutely, I'm proud of that total. Absolutely. You know? But I mean, I guess it's like, if somebody asked me what would make you feel, what would make you go, you made it, right? And I think it's like, it's kind of less, like I said, if there was like one thing, right? It would be, okay, it's like, to me, ultimate success is being able to take care of my friends and family without having to sweat it. You know? Like, to me, that's kind of the goal. You know, it's like if I were to start making enough money that I could take care that I could take care of everybody around me, you know, that we could all have a good time together. You know, that it's like we could all do things together without having to worry about, can you afford this, can you afford that, or whatnot. It's like, you know, that's all the bills are paid, we have a new car, you know, it's like whatever. It's like it's kind of like, actually, I guess my ultimate definition of success is rather mundane. You know, it's like, you know, can we all have a good time together? You know, I mean, you know, without having, you know, to worry about it. It's like, you know, can I take, you know, can I just like grab my mom and take her to England, go see Oxford, you know, go to Oxford, you know, without having to worry about it. You know, we're just going to do it. You know, it's like, you know, grab Jose and it's like, you know what, I'm going to take you to Spain and I'm going to take you to Valencia and I'm going to show you the fallas. You know, we're going to experience the fallas. You know, it's like to be able to do that and just like, just up and go, you know, and not have to worry about it. You know, it's like, you know, that type of thing. You know, it's like to be able to tell, you know, to be able to tell Anita, pack your bags, you're staying with me for 2 weeks in New York and we're going to go have a good time. You know, I mean, being able to do that, you know, you know, it's like, you know, that would be my ultimate definition of success. You know, and I forgot what color, what color is this? G19. Hold on. You know, um, you know, I mean, it's like, yeah. So it's like for me, it's like that would be the no. Luckily, there's no bunks here, so nobody gets to fall out of a bunk. Nobody falls out of a bunk here. There's no bunks here. Although there's a lot of stairs, so you might, yeah, just have to get used to stairs. But we can get falafel without drama. That's you know, that will be the ultimate thing. We could just go to Steinway, go to the falafel truck, and eat falafel till our heart's content, and then go to Best Buy. I don't know. We would do something. I don't know. You know. Oh, do I color with the marker? Yes. Yeah, I do mostly sketch covers with markers. Yeah, I use the Copics for like the main characters, and then I use the Prismacolors for like backgrounds, and then I use the Posca acrylic markers for like detailing. You know, it's like yeah, I usually use this for that type of work, like convention stuff and that way. For more like professional work, I use watercolors. I use watercolors and colored pencils, uh, just because it gives me, I don't know, it kind of like gives me a more refined effect than the markers can give me, um, or I'm skilled enough for the markers to give me. Um, I do color on the computer. Yeah, I do most of my work is digital coloring. But the thing is though, I do a little bit of everything. You know, it's like right now it's like I predominantly do digital coloring. But like everything else is done by hand. You know, it's like, yeah, like the penciling, the inking, um it's like, yeah, it's like digital coloring. Yeah, I do digital coloring, and then like, you know, like printing prep is all done on the computer. But it's like, I do markers for sketch covers depending on the type of commissions that are asked for, um that type of thing. Yeah, I do a little bit of everything. You know. um let's see. I think success is less a destination and more becoming a thought habit. I know I have a little of work to show, but I see the mental health is boosted, treating everything as, yeah, exactly. And I think that that's what throws off a lot of people, is that when they only think of success as one thing, as opposed to, like I was saying, that, maybe success is really incremental, rather than, oh, it's one big thing. Although it's like, yeah, it's like, it's like I just gave that, like, if really pressed for it, that's my definition of success. Being able to take care of everybody around me and we all have a good time and not have to worry about it. And again, it's like, what color did I use here? G14. Okay. But yeah, but I think that also it's important that you look at, like, the journey itself is a success. It's like the fact that you can do something creative, that in and of itself, it's like, look at it like this. It's like, I mean, what you do, no matter how much or how little of it that you do creatively, is so enviable that they had to create a fucking computer program to imitate it. That they had to create a computer program to do a fraction of what we can do. Because in the end, that's all an AI can do, is just a fraction. It doesn't think. It doesn't inspire. It's not inspired. It's not anything. It can't collaborate. It can't tell a story on its own. I don't care how many keywords you put into that shit. You're not saying anything. That this AI robo slop shit doesn't say anything. All it says is that you can. It's like, oh, I pressed the button, and you see, and the thing is, though, it's like I made that joke on, which is not really a joke, because like that's what these motherfuckers are doing. Where it's like they're pressing a button, and then all of a sudden they think they're fucking Frazetta. And I made the, and I said this, like, oh, I pressed the button, I'm an artiste now. And then some dick tried to say that coloring in Photoshop is the same thing. It's like, bitch, no, it's not. You know how I know? Because you can't do it. You can't color shit in Photoshop. If I were to give you a piece of artwork to color in Photoshop, you can't do shit. If I were to give these AI artists a piece to color in Photoshop, it is so not the fucking same thing. So it's like, for them to say that, oh, digital coloring is the same thing. No, Photoshop is not doing the work for me. I'm still doing the work. It's like, it's like, so yeah, so that's, the fact that just us goofing around made venture capitalists so fucking pressed that they had to create a program to not even be successful at what we do, just fucking around. I mean, it's real. I mean, really. I mean, so yeah, so just being able to do what we do is a success. It's like, being able to be in an environment where it's like, that we can do what we do, and we can put our books on Kickstarter, and we can build this audience, and it's like, and we can watch it grow, and that's a success. And I think that it's kind of heartbreaking when you have people who, it's like, they're making all these books and they're doing it, but they're so miserable because it's like, oh, well, it's not a 5-figure campaign. I can't buy a Maserati with this. It's like, I'm not making Todd McFarlane money. And the thing is, and it's like, and they're missing all, if you stare at the finger, you miss all the heavenly glory. They're missing all the heavenly glory of what they're doing because they're so focused on the finger. You know, and they just, and it's like, so it's like, no matter what they do, it's like they're always miserable because it's like they're moving their own goalposts. You know, it's like, well, but I didn't do this, I didn't do that. Yeah, but you did this, but you did that. You know, it, you know, and it's like, and I think that people really need to rethink their definition, you know, and yeah, it's like, yeah, you see, that's the thing. There was a conversation recently, a very stupid one, by the way, where these guys tried to argue that expecting creators, but I think in this case, we're using the term creator loosely, to have a book ready before they were able to put it on a crowdfunder was poor shaming. You know, because that if you expected a book to be finished for you to pledge your hard-earned money on that campaign, you were shaming the creators for being too poor to print a book because they needed the money from the crowdfunder to print the book. Well, here's the thing. It's called Kickstarter, not Kick Finish. Okay? It's like Kickstarter is to help you get over that hump. But the idea is that you already have that skin in the game. You already have that commitment to your project. It's not about, you know, it's not, you know, it's like, oh, if I can't it's like, I can't even start a book unless I crowdfund it. And it's like, look, it's like you said, it's like when I started printing books, when JD started printing books, you had to have cash in hand or you got nothing. You couldn't even Xerox. You could, because it's like we remember when the first color Xerox machine was introduced. When we started publishing, color Xerox machines didn't even exist. Or if they did, it was only like huge corporations that were only able to use them because the machines were so expensive. And even then, when they were finally introduced, it was like $5 a copy, $6 a copy to get a color copy. You know, if you wanted 11 by 17 color copy back in the 90s, that was like $10 a copy. A fucking copy. So you couldn't even pretend to think that you could fake making a color book unless you knew somebody who had access to a color machine. Because what's funny is that that's how Sam got his first book done in color back in the 90s. Was it the 90s? Or it's like, or the probably closer to the 2000s, I think with Sam, you know, it's like, yeah, I think it was around the 2000s where he knew somebody who worked at a print shop and they were able to sneak color copies for him so that he could have, so when he went to his first convention, when everybody had black and white books, he had a color book, you know, you know, and so, yeah, you needed at least $3,000 to go to a printer to print a comic book back when we were doing it. So for these guys to whine that it's like, oh, we're too poor to make a comic, and if you expect us to have a completed comic before we do a crowdfunder, you're poor shaming. It's like, one, fuck you for misusing that word, you know. And two, because again, my top shelf is very crowded. Do I have to put poor shaming up there too? You know? So all the little babies can't misuse that word. But the thing is, though, if you cannot afford to do your comic, you have bigger problems than doing a comic. Okay? You know, it's like, it's, you know, that's the thing. You know, and to say that you have a right to be funded for a book you don't have, I mean, that's insanity to me. That is I mean, I can't believe the sense of entitlement. You know, it's like where it's like you think crowdfunding is a piggy bank that you're entitled to, but you don't need to have a book because, well, technically you can't afford the book. And it's like, look, honey, I've seen what people do, irresponsible people on Kickstarter have done. Why do I want to add to that? Why would I want to, you know? And the thing is, though, and look, I have that thing that it's like, I don't run a crowdfunder unless my book is finished. You know, it's like Eagle Raven issue 6, it is not going to launch until I have those color pages done. You know, it's like, so it's like, it is on me to get those color pages done as soon as I can so that I can launch. But no, not a minute before. You know? And you know, and for these, you know, and I've had people get pressed with that. I've had people argue with me with that. Well, not everybody can be like that. Well, too bad. Then it's like, you know what? You're not going to see a dime of my money until I know for sure you're fucking done. I have campaigns that I have been waiting 2 years, 3 years. There are plenty of people out there waiting for projects that are in the years. Here's the thing. After a campaign closes, you get your money within 2 weeks. Do you think after 3 years that money is still there? Do you think after 3 years they still have that money? They still have that that they're that responsible that they didn't spend a dime of that Kickstarter money until they finished the book? No, screw that. It's like, you know what? It's like, unless I know for sure your book is done, I'm not spending a fucking dime on anybody. And if you want to say that that's poor shaming, I'm going to say, fuck you, get a job. There's plenty of people who have side jobs to be able to afford to do their book. Why are you so fucking special? What makes you special? You know? I mean, like I said, it was the stupidest argument, the stupidest conversation. You know? And you know, it's, you know, and it was infuriating. And I thought it was incredibly insulting. You know, because these assholes had everything to say. They had every opinion about what everybody else should be doing. But just don't goddamn tell them that, you know what, if you don't have the money to do a book, you shouldn't be doing it. Or either that, go get a job to get the money to do it. You know? I mean, it's ridiculous. It honestly, it's like it blew my mind that it's like, you know, that they were saying this with a straight face. You know? You know, I mean, it's like, yeah, you know, it's like, yeah, exactly. I mean, it's like, so if you complain, you know, about them making you wait 10, you know, like 3 years, is that poor shaming? Yeah, it's like it's more poor shaming you because it's like you're out that money. You know? I mean, really. You know, really, it's not really a rare moment, honestly. It's not really. I thought you watched enough of these to know it's not really. You know? But let me do another line of colors here. I know that we're just hitting. I just got my 5-minute warning, but it's like I'm just gonna keep going with this. You know, it's at least finish another row of color here. So I'm liking the way this is coming out. I'm really happy. I'm really thinking this is really going to work for me. You know, being able to see the colors as they are. And what I like is that it's on this mixed media paper. So it's on the paper that most likely I would be using. so yeah, so it's like, so I'm going to be swatching those mica paints that I showed over there. I'm going to be swatching the watercolors. I'm going to be swatching the Prismacolors. I'm going to be swatching the acrylics, just so that I have like kind of like this master book of swatches, so if I need to reference anything, it's already here. I mean, it's like, honestly, for the amount of pages, I probably should do the same thing to the colored pencils as well. Just have this master book of swatches. um and because already I can see how this is going to be really helpful for me, especially if it doesn't fade, you know um because in the end, that is the idea, that it doesn't fade. But um you know but yeah, so I mean, yeah, so what does what does success mean? I mean, and what's funny is that I had gotten asked that question this week, or at least I was told that we were going to need to have this conversation seriously. you know what is it? It's like, you know kind of like the whole where do you see yourself in 5 years type of thing. And what's really funny is that wasn't even the question of the moment. I was just told we were going to have this conversation. We were that eventually we were going to have this conversation. And I have been thinking about it since. Because it's like, it's like my thought process has just been so focused on doing the Kickstarter. It's like, literally, it's like, oh, so where do you see yourself in 5 years? Well, let me show you my Kickstarter schedule. Like, that's all I got. I mean, it's like, it's it's been so long since I've actually had to answer that question seriously, that it's like, holy crap. I mean, how am I going to answer that question? Where do I see myself in 5 years? And the thing is too, is that it's more like, where do I see myself, like, outside of Kickstarter, outside of comics? Because, you know, or in conjunction with, like, so that's kind of like a question like, that's been kind of like I've been ruminating on since yesterday. And it's like, well, you know what? On one hand, it's like I said, it's like, well, this is my Kickstarter schedule. Let's start there, you know? But at the same time, it's like, wow, it's like, like, I don't know, like ever since I was at SVA, like even before then, like, I always had this fantasy of working for Disney, right? Ever since, it was always the second, because you know how it is. The second somebody sees you drawing, oh, do you work for Disney? Do you work for Disney? Right? And ever since I was little, it was always, oh, I'm going to work for Disney, and but I'm not. It's like, I'm not really. It's like, but obviously I'm not. I've worked at Scholastic, and even then, um, and it's like, I've worked on, some major anime properties at the time. It's like, I've worked on Tenchi Muyo, I've worked on La Blue Girl. It's like, um, we worked on Demon Beast Invasion. It's like, so it's like, it's all these little different things. So it's like, I don't know, it's like, so that's the thing. It's like, I would just have to sit here and go, it's like, well, I was like, yeah, it's like, I don't know. It's, yeah, I mean, this is literally a conversation that it's like, I have to think about, and like, I have some answers, but you know what? It's not as final. You know what I mean? Like, at one time, like, well, for the longest time, back in the day, like, yeah, like for me, the end all be all was, oh, it's like working for Disney. If I don't work for Disney, I'm a failure somehow, and it's like, because nobody can brag about, the work that I do, because it's like nobody's heard of it. The average person's never heard of it, or this, that, and the other thing. I mean, and even like, you know, you have to be a certain type of weeb to even, like know Tenchi Muyu now, or La Blue Girl, or Demon Beast Invasion. It's like, you know, I mean, you, you know, um, but it's like, but here's the thing, where it's like, now it's like the way I look at it, and it's like, well, what if I could work for a major company, like Disney, like Universal, like, I don't know, hypothetically, I mean, I worked at the Disney store, when it was on Fifth Avenue, and, um, and I loved it, it's like, I really regretted having to leave the company. It's like, I only worked there for 3 months, because it's like, this was when, minimum wage in New York was like $7 an hour. And I literally couldn't live on that. I couldn't pay my bills with that. So it's like, so I had, and I hated it. I hated having to leave. Honestly, it's like, I really do still remember my Disney job fondly, very fondly. It's like, it's like, we always joked about, me and JD always joked about, like, moving to Orlando and working in the theme parks, or it's like, oh, or maybe, it's like, or living near the theme parks. And it's like, well, if I wasn't working there, I was working for Disney in some capacity. Or even, it's like, we were just making so much money on Kickstarter, we were just able to live next to Walt Disney World. I mean, we would just have this fantasy, and it's like, I don't know. It's like, yeah, where do I see myself? Well, the federal minimum wage is still $7 an hour. That's why, remember when they paid us the oh so generous $1,600 for staying home, the COVID money? That's based on a $7 an hour, 40 hour week. In New York, the minimum wage is $17 an hour. So, that, that, yeah, it's, I don't know. So it's like, yeah. So it's like, so I really have to kind of like seriously think that. It's like, yeah, it's like depending on the opportunities, it's like, what would I want to do? Where do I see myself in 5 years? It's like, it's like, because now it's like, we're probably talking about something that's outside of Kickstarter, outside of comics. And it's like, wow, it's like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I would have to really think about it, and the thing is, though, it's like, this really is a conversation for me and, the person that I'm talking to, so, about this. So, um, it's just, like I said, it's like, success is just, it has a real different definition now. You know, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, it's like, what I thought would have made me successful like 20 years ago. Um, not it's not the same thing now. You're kidding me. This was that color? Yeah. Huh? Okay. Oh, all right. I was expecting it to be darker. Oh, because the cap is like really dark, and then it's like the brown is, I mean, look at that. Like that is not, but then again, that's why you're supposed to make swatch charts, because you really can't go by the cap color because it's not going to be accurate. And also the thing with Copics is that you can layer them so you can get, darker colors if you wanted. So, yeah. I'm just gonna keep going until I finish my box here. I got like 8 more colors to go, so we can just continue talking a little bit. So I mean, so here's the thing. It's like, so how is everybody feeling about this episode? I mean, like I said, it's not an art episode, right? But it's more kind of like an art maintenance episode, I guess. Is this something that you guys, like how did you feel about it? Do you like watching me doing swatches and just talking? you know, um, it is, like if I were to do swatches for my watercolors and we're just sitting here talking, with that, is that, you know, like just something a little bit different, you know? I mean, I wouldn't do like these types of episodes in a row, It's like, how I like to mix it up, but so there, this is, let's see. Oh, so there we go. So Nita, yes, Nita's like going completely sexy. Thank you so much. Chill stream. Yes. Yeah, I really, yeah, today really was a chill stream while I was doing swatches, right? Um, let's see. When one is young, you measure success by reach and the monetary rewards associated with it. But as you get near the end of life, oh, do you have to word it like that? It becomes, no, it's like, but I know what you mean though. It becomes more about happiness and satisfaction with what you're done. Yeah, I agree. I agree. And it's like, yeah, it's like, look, it's like, look, I'm closer to retirement age than I am to when I was in college. So it's like, yeah, it's like once you get over that a certain line in age, it's like you start thinking of things differently. It's like things that you thought were really important, all of a sudden you realize, like, really, I used to get uptight over that. I think also that's also the reason why, like, Stoic philosophy has such a resonance with me right now. It's like, it's like, because it's like that's kind of like what number is that? Look at that. I was so forgetting to put, this is what, C7. C7. Because it's like pretty much it's a whole bunch of ancient philosophers saying you got to chill. It's pretty much that's what sums up Stoic philosophy. You got to chill. It's like, you know what? It's like, why are you worrying about shit that doesn't matter? It's like the whole thing about giving 0% attention on things that you have no control over, and it's like, it's a little tough because you know what it is, like a lot of these emotional reactions are almost more habit than you're actually upset about something. I mean, it's really kind of funny to realize, it's like today, it's like, JD was about to go out the door and he was like talking about like James Gunn announcing what he's going to do with the DC universe, right? And oh, people on the internet's all upset and shit like that. And you know what I said? Who cares? It's like, I don't care. Do you think James, it's like a millionaire, a millionaire director is going to give a shit about people's opinions on the, it's like, but the thing is, I don't care. I don't like James Gunn's shit. I don't like Guardians of the Galaxy. It's like, look, I'll ride or die for Rocket Raccoon, but you know what? It's like the movies had nothing to do with that. And it's like, meanwhile, there are people like doing tear-filled treaties on YouTube about James Gunn, and it's like, really? Nothing else going on in your life? Nothing else happening? You're not doing anything? you know? So and yeah, it's like, I don't care. I really don't care. You know? Um, it just doesn't matter to me. You know? So it's like, so yeah, so that's kind of like, so that's kind of how I feel about um a lot of things lately. Like I said, it's like once you hit this age threshold, it's like you begin to narrow down what's worth it. It's like that's what the pandemic did for me. It helped me narrow down um what was worth it, what was worth my time, and that's yeah, it's but the funny thing is that even narrowing it down, asking me where do you see yourself in 5 years, it's like, what? Like, what? um and the thing is though is that um yeah, I don't know, it's like I still have to think about it, but but maybe that's a good thing, because then it's like, I can really think about it. It's like, because it's like maybe the amount of distractions that I really have, um because like, yeah, it's like, well, it's not about like what I like. It's like, okay, can I buy a new car? Like, okay, in 5 years, I'd like to have, I see myself in a car. Actually, I see myself in a car earlier. It's like, look, I'm a New Yorker, so it's like I have a driver's license, but no car. Because you don't need it here, I'm the quintessential New Yorker. But the thing is, though, I would like to have a car. I would like to finally make that investment, because the thing is, though, if when you want to do more conventions, when you want to do more things, you want to travel more, having a car is important. It's just, I just don't have one. So it's like, okay, in 5 years, I see myself with a car. How would I get that though? Like, how would I get to that point though? Is it going to be a Maserati? No, it's going to be like some kind of as big of a hybrid as I can get. It's like they don't make C-Maxes anymore, but it'll be something like, a friggin' minivan hybrid type of thing. That's what I see myself driving, you know? Uh, can I fit, how much, how much, you know, convention stuff can I fit in the back of a car? In the car. That's the one we get, as long as it's a hybrid. Um, I want to, I want to run one New York marathon in 5 years. I want to run, I want to do the dopey challenge at least once in 5 years. That's the Run Disney thing where you're running a half, the 5K, 10K, half marathon, and full marathon in a weekend. I want to be able to do that. It's like, okay, I see myself doing that in 5 years. you know um it's like I want to do more road trips. you know it's like I want to drive down, grab Nita, and take her to MegaCon. We go hang out at MegaCon. It's like that's what I want to do. Or I don't know. It's like I don't know. It's like, what do I see myself? I don't know. You see, that's the thing. It's like it's like that's where I'm kind of like, where do I see myself in 5 years doing? It's like, I see myself, with all 4 volumes of Eagle Raven done. And it's like, and I have the novels out, and I'm putting out novels. That's what I see myself doing in 5 years. you know the illustrated novels that come after that, I see myself doing that. you know um I see myself, finishing, like I have, starting the last story arc for Tall Tales. That's what I see myself doing in 5 years. I mean, it's like there's some other things that I want to that I want to say, but like I said, that's more for the conversation with the other person, who asked me this question. You know, maybe somewhere in the near future I can share with everybody, if it even gets that far. You see, that's the thing too. It's like, it's like, for all I know, this opportunity opened up, and for some reason or another, it turns out to go to go nowhere, for some reason or another. But but no matter what happens, I would still consider it a success because I got the opportunity to begin with. Yeah, it's like, yeah, exactly. It's like, me and Nita, we divvied up all the House of Bob images, and we have like these 5 books that are all in various stages of production. And it's like, yeah, in 5 years, I want to have this collection of House of Bob books, beautiful hardcovers. I want that. I want, we're putting out hardcovers of all the books. I mean, yeah, it's like, maybe I can see a lot of things, in 5 years, I don't know, but yeah, but it's like, but like I said, to wheel it down. Hey, brown dog, to wheel it down, in terms of success, like, even if this opportunity for some reason, I don't know, fizzles out, right? It was still successful in the terms of, well, we tried it. We had this opportunity and we ran with it, and and we got to say we did it. I mean, granted, it's like, I am hoping that the road opens up further from that and doesn't fizzle out, because like I said, it's like, I'm hoping like sometime in the near future I can talk more about this, but not now, unfortunately. But but just by being at this point is a success. And I don't know. I don't know. It's like, you know what it is? It's like the future really is that this coming 5 years is actually pretty bright, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's like, wow, it's like, yeah, it's like, that's a lot of books I want to do. That's a lot of stuff that I mean, the stuff that I want to do is like, yeah, that's what I want to do, that's a W4. W4. Oh, look at that. I made enough boxes for exactly the amount of markers I have in this pouch. So there we go. So here's the last one. So there we go. W1. There we go. So look at that. Look at how pretty that looks. So this are all the markers that swatched from my main set. I do have more Copic markers, but I'm going to like skip a line, and I'm going to continue, I'm going to swatch those separately. Or maybe what I should do is like each set should be its own page. So that if I get more markers, I would have more room to swatch. So probably that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave that the first page. But yeah, but look at that. That came out really good. So the idea, so now I get to hang this back. Look at how neat that is. You see, it worked out so not bad for a freaking baby carriage thing. Not bad at all. So yeah, so there we go. So here are my swatches for my Copics in this book. Because like I said, the idea is okay. So see you, Nita. Yeah, I'm just wrapping up here too. So so talk to you later. So like I said, it's like I'm doing this book just for swatches so that way I can keep it closed and hopefully keep the integrity of the less light fast colors like the Copics, like the Prismacolors. So I don't always have to like keep doing swatches when I actually need to color. So let me just move this over here. Okay, so it's like, oh, I didn't even put my music on today, but I don't know. I think the conversation was really good, regardless. So without the music, I don't think we had like dead air or anything. So, um, so let me just, oh, there we go. How aesthetic. Okay. So I have my stuff still here, all my supplies. So yes, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to even swatch the pencils and definitely the watercolors and the acrylics, but definitely the Dr. Martin dyes because I'm pretty sure they're still good. It's their dyes. It's like where are they going? I mean, it's like I think the only thing I really had to worry about was maybe that not evaporated, like worrying about them evaporating. But I guess because I kept them in the box and I kept them in kind of like a closed drawer, they really didn't do that. So so it's like it's like after all these years, I mean, honestly, it's like aside from the box looking like it's a billion years old, the inks should still be good. So okay, so here we are a little bit. It's like okay, so we ran a little over, but I really do think the conversation was pretty good. It's like hold on, let me turn these off. Poof, poof. Yeah, so it's like I really do think the conversation was pretty good. So sometimes that happens. It's like I'm just in that type of mood. It's I don't know if podcasting is my main. It's like what it is. It's like people have told me, oh, it's like you're a natural at this, and I go, no, this is practice. Because if you watch my older videos, it's like it's a hot mess. It's like it's like I've just gotten. You see, and that's the thing too with having to do so many streams since lockdown. It's like I guess kind of like just got more, I don't know if it's confidence, but just like more comfortable, just talking to a camera and just talking in general. And especially since, you're only hearing it one way. It's not like it's a whole bunch of us having a conversation on screen. I mean, it's like I can, it's like, okay, can I technically carry a conversation by myself? But the thing is, though, is that I don't think I could do this without you guys, because it's like, I think that the conversation was able to be carried the way as long as it did because you guys were interacting and I was interacting with you guys and answering your questions and reacting to your comments and whatnot. So we really were having a conversation. It's just that technically, everyone's only hearing my voice, and it's funny that you mentioned podcasting because like that is something that Nita is kind of looking into for the shows, like certain shows. It's like, is this something that people can actually listen to without the visuals? And I kind of think that this episode really, I guess it really fits the bill, or at least, the part once I stopped showing off art supplies, but but so yeah, so there you have it. Thank you so much. I'm really happy that everybody seemed to have enjoyed this unusual episode of my live stream. Like I said, usually I'm drawing something, but I really just wanted to do something different because of what happened, like what I've been experiencing this week. And it's like I really wanted to do this inventory, and it's like, what, and I really do need to swatch my stuff anyway so that I know exactly what I have. it's just the maintenance. It's the maintenance of all this. It's like I said, it's like we're borderline hoarders, kind of. It's just that it's kind of like a useful hoard, rather than like newspapers on the floor or something. So hey, so see you later. See you later, Jake. So there you have it. This is, so like I said, thank you so much for joining me for this almost 2.5 hours of streaming. I'm glad you at least found it entertaining. I'll be sure next week though to bring in some artwork. Maybe we can color something with the markers that I swatched. How about that? We'll continue the theme that way. I'll swatch the markers and then we can work with that on an actual piece. So because I did find a stack of sketch covers, like My Little Ponies and Gem and the Holograms and some Disney comics and whatnot. Maybe we can do something next week with that, incorporating the swatches that I just made. So we'll see when we get to that. So there you have it. So like I said, thank you to everybody in the chat. Thank you, Jake, Brown Dog, Patrick, Nita, Ephraim, Grant. Thank you so much. If I didn't mention you, look, I did see you. So thank you so much. For joining, for being in the chat. Thank you so much for the 5 people next to the giant eyeball on my screen for still holding out. Thank you so much for joining us as well. I really do hope you were entertained by this. And of course, thank you for Kevin John for stopping by. Always a pleasure. So if you want to learn more about me and my artwork and my Kickstarter especially, you're going to head on over to my main portfolio site at egoworks.com. That's EGOWORKS. Where you can find links to all of my galleries and social media sites. But I mostly post to Facebook if you're interested in seeing sketches and current work in progress and live updates as to what's going on in my creative circle here. Facebook is where you get all the latest updates. And again, if you're watching me any place else other than YouTube, you can check out my YouTube channel, where you can find all my videos, my previous live streams. And so that's at Daphne Lage, Lage Art, which also simulcasts through the Indie Comics Network. So make sure that you subscribe to both of our channels so that you don't miss anything whenever we go live. And as a reminder, at the website, you can start reading Ego Raven for free on egoworks.com. Updates daily, Monday to Friday. It's the full color Kickstarter version. So if you're not familiar with the book, you can start reading it online. But if you prefer your fantasy to be more of a furry Lord of the Rings adventure, you can head on over to Tall Tales Online. The link is there as well, to Tall Tales, TAILS online.com. Where not only can you read the first 20 issues of Tall Tales for free, but starting today, you can read, again, daily uploads of the latest story arc, Tears of the Mother, which continues exactly where Thief's Quest left off. So, so the new adventure starts, and we're building up to all the Kickstarters, pretty much. And so don't forget to check the show notes below for links to everything that like all the campaigns and what that we spoke about. And that's pretty much it for me. So thank you so much. We'll see you on Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern for our the Raging 2 show. We'll be back on Monday again with the same show, and then next week, next Wednesday, I will also have we'll be back here again with another live stream. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for your support of the campaign, your support of this show, for watching this far. Thank you so much, and I will see you next time.